Today's video is going to be a serious, yet disturbing one, as we'll be looking at some of the most dangerous criminals in the world being prosecuted in court. Without wasting any more time, let's take a look. Viewer discretion is advised. TJ Lane. On February 27, 2012, 17-year-old Thomas, TJ, Lane walked into the Chardon High School in Chardon, Ohio, and using a .22 pistol killed 3 students, wounding another 2. Lane initially fled the scene but was captured later in the day. Lane later pled guilty to the charges against him. At his sentencing hearing, Lane removed his button-up shirt and revealed a white t-shirt with the word "killer" written on it, similar to the one he had worn during the rampage. Later, when asked to make a statement, Lane simply said, "This hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons now masturbates to the memory. Fuck all of you," while flipping off the courtroom. This caused many of his victims' families to burst out crying, as they were unprepared for such a callous response. Lane was sentenced to life with no parole, and after a brief escape in September 2014, he was sent to maximum security, where he remains to this day. Richard Ramirez. Besides being one of Southern California's most feared serial killers, Richard Ramirez was an avowed Satanist and included satanic symbols at many of his crime scenes. Ramirez was captured in Los Angeles in 1985 after his photo was released to the public as a suspect in 13 recent murders. At his first court appearance, as Ramirez was escorted into the court, he flashed spectators with his left palm where a pentagram had been drawn. He was soon found guilty of 13 murders, as well as countless other violent crimes. Ramirez was sentenced to death in November 1989, and upon learning his sentence, he told the court, "Big deal, death always went with the territory." He was sent to death row at San Quentin, however he died of natural causes in 2013 while still on death row. Robert John Bardo. In 1989, Robert John Bardo went to the home of actress Samantha Schaefer, armed with a gun and a copy of Catcher in the Rye. When Schaefer answered the door, she was shot twice by Bardo. Bardo had been obsessed with Schaefer after watching her in the sitcom My Sister Sam, in which she had a lead role. According to Bardo, he was particularly enamored with Schaefer's innocence. That changed when he saw her in the movie Class Struggle in Beverly Hills, where she was in a sex scene that enraged Bardo, leading him down his murderous path. In court, when the song Exit by U2 was played, Bardo began violently moving back and forth in his chair, singing along. According to Bardo, the song told him his destiny, particularly the line, "Pistol weighing heavy," which he sang along to. Bardo was found guilty by a judge and sentenced to life in prison with no parole. He remains incarcerated to this day. Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader lived a double life. On one side was a loving family man, decorated veteran, and public servant. On the other was one of America's most depraved serial killers, known only as BTK, bind, torture, kill. For decades, the people of Wichita, Kansas had lived in fear of the BTK killer, whose vicious crimes as well as taunts to the police shocked the world. The crime spanned from 1974 to 2005 when Rader was captured. When asked if he knew why he was under arrest, Dennis Rader coldly responded, "Oh, I have my suspicions. Why?" In court, as part of his plea agreement, Rader gave a full account of his crimes, describing them in a cold, monotone voice, as if he was in court over a traffic ticket or some other minor offense. Rader was sentenced to 10 life sentences, as his crimes were committed before Kansas reinstated the death penalty in 1994. He remains incarcerated to this day. Chai Vang. Chai Vang murdered 6 people and attempted to murder 2 more in a trespassing dispute in 2004. While on the witness stand, Vang coldly demonstrated to the jury how he held his rifle as he gunned down the hunters, describing in great detail his actions. Furthermore, when he was asked by the prosecution if his victims deserved to die, he answered that they did. Vang was convicted of murder, with the jury deciding that the physical evidence, particularly most of the victims being shot in the back, superseded the inconsistent testimony of the survivors and Vang's self-defense claims. When he was sentenced to life in prison, his only response was that he was grateful that he could live off of the state's dime, and no longer had to worry about child support or mortgage payments. He remains incarcerated to this day. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you can see our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.